Hey, let me help you with something because I think we've gotten a lot of things confused out here. If you want to correct someone, whoever heeds correction gains understanding. If you want to hold someone accountable to better behavior, there is only one way you can do that. Well, there's only one effective way you can do that. You have to have a relationship with them. If you don't have a relationship with someone, you are not in a position to hold them accountable or to correct them. Rebuke them, if you want to use an old Bible word. You're not. You're not going to change someone's behavior. Now the exception, I said effectively, the exception is you can actually get people to change their behavior by threatening them with some sort of power you have over them. But it's not effective because it doesn't create long-term change because there's no understanding. It's merely compliance. And so if enough people threaten a politician and the politician changes their vote, they were not corrected. They were not held accountable. They merely were threatened into that position. And then the next time that vote comes up, they'll vote the wrong way because they haven't changed their mind. Their mind and their heart weren't changed. But we have a whole culture that feels like they have the right to now hold people accountable or rebuke people or correct people with whom they don't have a relationship. An example would be when someone's angry and they tweet or they go on Facebook and they say, you should never do that. And they say, this generation has these wonderful just saying, and I'm disappointed, and they insult someone and say, because I'm out here in the Twitter universe somewhere and I don't like you, you should change. And you should be willing to accept my input. Well, the answer is that no one's going to accept your input unless they have a relationship with you. And so when, some little 26-year-old or 24-year-old or 38-year-old or 58-year-old gets mad at me on Twitter, it doesn't correct me. I don't change. Because I don't have a relationship with that person. And the only relationship I have with them is when they drove by on their Twitter account and insulted me. And that's supposed to make me want to change. It's not how it works, folks. You have to have a relationship to correct someone. Otherwise, you're just barking at the wind. You're a dog chasing a car, and you're kind of pitiful. Wouldn't know what to do if you caught it. But this idea that somehow you have the obligation to trash so-and-so on the internet. And I see you people do it with these poor little college football players. These are 18-year-old kids, and some of you people that are supposed grown-ups rip them to shreds because they didn't catch a football in a game. You're pitiful human beings. You're pitiful human beings. You have no relationship with that kid. You're not in a position to coach them to play football. And you somehow feel the right to go on and rip someone to shreds. You see it in the comments after articles all the time that are written about situations. And some of you feel the right, your righteous indignation, like somebody cares what you think. So you can't correct people, you can't hold people accountable that you don't have a relationship with. Doesn't work. So if you want to guide someone, you have to build a relationship with them. Now, I have the privilege of having a relationship over the radio with millions of you. And it is a privilege and it's an honor. And you trust what I have said about things. And so when I say something that makes you feel uncomfortable, it causes you to stop and think because of our relationship. No, it's not a personal relationship, but we do have that relationship. It is a bit one way, I understand that, because I haven't listened to you, so I don't have as much relationship with you, other than I'm glad you're there and we appreciate you. But you're not in a position to really threaten me just because you listen. Isn't that interesting? It's an interesting dynamic, and it's something to kind of think about, because the anger and the angst that is out there in our culture right now is, and the polarization of political parties and liberal ideology and conservative ideology, and CNN and Fox and Rush and Sean and whoever, Ed, and the polarization, the loud voices. Very few people are stopping to actually interact anymore. And so nothing gets accomplished except just barking at the wind and chasing a car. And some of people think they can enter into the blogosphere or the Twitter sphere or the Facebook world and have that same kind of a voice, and it's not working. All it's doing is embarrassing you. And it's amazing to me that people think they can say things caustic, and then when someone responds, they say, oh, he's thin-skinned. One guy said, Ramsey's prickly. Prickly. I like that word. I'm prickly. I kind of am. It's like little stickers on there, yeah. Like touch a thorn bush. It's, that kind of thing. That's something to think about. And all it was you insulted me on Twitter, and I actually responded. And I said, you're out of line. Well, you're thin-skinned. No, you're out of, call me condescending, and I say you're out of line, but I'm the one that's insulting. Isn't that interesting? So I've enjoyed the whole Twitter experience. It's an interesting study in human nature and an interesting study in digital courage, where people will say crap they would never have the courage to say in your face. To walk into our building and stand here and talk to me and say the exact same thing, 0%. 0% of them have that much courage. And very interesting. It's very interesting. And so, that's a thing for you young people to think about. Don't put a picture, and these kids, man, these teenagers on Twitter, wow, with the language. Don't type something into the digital world, words of yours associated with your name. Don't post a picture of yourself that you wouldn't put on a billboard on the side of the highway. If you wouldn't say it on a billboard on the side of the highway where your grandmother sees it, your mother sees it, your school principal sees it, your future employers see it, your past employers see it, your friends see it, your pastor sees it. If you wouldn't put it on a billboard where all of those people see it with those words beside your name and your face, and you wouldn't put your picture that you're posting that's really embarrassing for you, then don't post it on anywhere on the internet, on Facebook, on Twitter, anything else. Because that's your personal brand. And you're destroying the brand that is you. In other words, you're destroying the credibility that you have, because you're showing yourself to have no character. You're showing yourself to be out of control and basically a coward throwing grenades in the digital space, because you don't have the courage to do something like that in person. You got to be really careful with this, folks, because stuff that has been said about friends of mine that are in the media in the digital world would never be said to their face. Ever. Because there are people that are saying it have no courage, have no backbone. So if you wouldn't say it to their face and you wouldn't put it on a billboard, don't put it on the internet.